Well, good morning. What a beautiful day it is. So, I'm Axel Goplan, owner of A Goplan Enterprises, and I'm out to finish my second part of the hunt for grouse or wild game birds. So I'm out in the mountains, one of my favorite places, and depending on how the day goes, my intention is to harvest a couple of probably ruffled grouse from this area, and then take them home and look at my comments to see if anybody chimed in for their favorite recipe or spice that they might like to do their poultry with, and do a comparison, because I do have a couple of birds at home that I harvested last year. In the previous video I showed me harvesting them, and big happy grin on my face, because sometimes they're kind of hard to get on top of. But so yeah, I'm just going to do a comparison between the fresh bird and its attributes and what it looks like, and my vacuum sealed birds that have been sitting in the deep freeze for probably about 11 months. Anyways, hopefully they're not freezer burned and all that, but I have faith in my vacuum sealer. And it's a real game changer as far as preserving your meat and keeping the freezer burn off of them. But we'll see how it goes, you know. And yeah, here's kind of a shot of where I'm heading up the mountain over here to my left, and just kind of try to find the elevation that the birds might be sitting. We just lost our snow, so the snow gets eaten up by with the native people of this land, or the indigenous people of the land, called Chinook. One of 3 or 4 places in the world that gets Chinook, and can go from, well, it went from -16, -17 to +9 in the space of 24 hours. And the pressure change was just incredible for the sinuses and things like that. People tend to get kind of irritable when that happens in our area. God help you if you're in customer service. But yeah, anyways, so I just wanted to do a little introduction of where I am and where I'm going, and this beautiful land here. Hopefully God provides, and my aim is true, and we hopefully get some footage of all that process, as well as cooking them up and doing the comparison with the older bird that I have in the deep freeze. So hope you enjoy the video, and wonderful sights along the way to this area. I came across a herd of elk. Still had a little bit of a malfunction with the camera and my setup. I was missing a washer, so I couldn't get the spotting scope to stay in position, so I had to kind of change things. I decided not to make my presence known, so I went further along the road that I was on, and then we had a snow squall that went through and then came back, and I hope you enjoyed seeing those elk. Those are the herds that I've been waiting for all year, and keeping eyes on the hills, so to speak, to just got to keep touch with the land. You got to keep touch with what's going on, and if it's your table fare at some point in time, then you've done all that pre-work and know the nature and their course of what they're doing at any given time. So anyways, hope you enjoy, and I will catch up to you in a bit. Cheers. At this point, I lost communication between my microphone and my camera. Quel problème. Oh well. So these bridges up to the left here is where I'm intending on going. I've had great success in the past with these copse of trees, and there's little draws that come down and different game trails that traverse those hillsides. Go figure. On my first break, guess who's got to give away my position? He was quite chatty. And all the Twitter about who was invading his space. As you can see, he was very curious and giving me what for at the best of times. Well, nothing in the bottom, or at least so far anyway. I do have a problem with being a little bit too stealthy. I tend to sneak right by everything. At least that's what I would like to think. But a point of interest for all you burl lovers, and that's Burral, I believe. Anyway, the naughty growth due to possible infection or injury to a tree, that people like to make clocks and coffee tables and love the nice swirly wood. Check out what I just came across. That's a terrific specimen. The tree's still alive, so just wow. Just goes all the way around. That's amazing. And yeah, the tree is still alive, although it is dying off, and there's more burls up high. But wow, that's incredible. If a person cut that right, that would make a nice coffee table. But pine, so there might be huge pockets of sap in them. Look at the girth on that, eh? That's incredible. So maybe in years to come, if they don't log this place off and the tree eventually dies, it's a long ways out. I think it would have to be winter time to put it on a sled and start first thing in the morning, and maybe by nightfall I'll have it out. But or just cut it into slabs here. So you'd like to assess it properly and all that kind of thing. But yeah, pretty cool. Well, I'm going to climb up this hillside that I showed earlier and get a little more elevation. The birds tend to like a certain temperature, certain elevation. They like the sun themselves, and they like a good choice of food other than bugs. So you can get into some berry bushes like some bearberry or juniper and um, yeah, rose hips, things like that. That'd probably be in some grass. They like eating seeds and things like that, and having a good vantage point so that they can see what's coming. But as of yet, no action. I was expecting to be busted by now by at least one, but see what comes. That was pretty cool. Cheers. Well, what you're seeing here is me stalking up on a ruffled grouse. Unfortunately, I lost my audio trying new equipment and fumbled with the buttons, I guess. Anyways, I'm trying to be stealthy, and the bird is just beyond those trees there. So, here's a good lesson for all you new people in videoing. It's quite a challenge to get the bipod set up or tripod set up and to do your action, as well as make sure that it's in frame. So you just saw me miss. I'm a little bit disappointed with this, but needless to say, all things happen for a reason. This microphone is the offending component. Apparently I didn't quite click it on. It's got 3 different modes and is obviously malfunctioned. Maybe also because of the cold weather. Anyways, I continue on to say that I am going to hopefully track down some more, but there was 2 others with this bird that went down into the bottom here, which of course didn't give me a chance after that initial attempt at their partner, and of course flew away. So from this point on, I actually came across a couple of more, but didn't have any opportunities. And not to bore you with no video or no audio, I'm going to cut it off here and we will pick it up 5 days later. 5 days later. Well, good morning, everybody. Look at this wonderful herd of elk. That's a pretty big herd. daddy bulls. Seems like they're all cows. Wow, that was spectacular. Out this morning to complete my from field to table on grouse. And I just happened to come down and check to see if I could see any elk, and sure enough, there they are. Awesome. I did have a draw last year for this area and that, but it was far and few between because they were being probably pushed too much by most people that were in the same area. But yeah, just for a brief moment, there it is, and there they go. Probably underneath there's a major power line that goes up over the hill here, and then continues on going north. But there's some hidden valleys in the back there, and probably just going to get out of the wind and stay out of sight and all that. But I was just fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time. So awesome. Anyways, I'm going to head up to where I left off a few days ago. It's probably about 4 or 5 days ago now. Hiked my butt off and had some audio trouble and so on, and yeah, so what do? I'm gonna pick up that video where I left off and see if I can't be a little more strategic in my ability to grab some table fare, and then do a comparison between preserved poultry as opposed to fresh poultry, see how my vacuum sealer did, and maybe try out a recipe from my great aunt's cookbook. So I was hoping that somebody would chime in and maybe leave in the comments their favorite spices or recipes, and you still have an opportunity to do that. Yeah, and if you do, I will definitely make a video and try it out, and give you full credit for your inspiration, or if it's a family recipe or something like that. It would be so nice to share those hidden gems of what we like to feed our families. Anyways, onwards and upwards, and I might double back a little bit just to see if they come out on the other side of the hill and maybe are visible. But if not, I will catch up to you while I'm walking. Talk to you later. Well, back in the woods. By the way, everybody, happy solstice. Winter solstice in Canada. I guess in the northern regions of the world, but yeah, shortest day of the year. So I'm back at her, and really nice to see those elk this morning, but that's for another year and another time for me. But I'm just gonna dip into these woods here, and I don't typically go in this way. It could get pretty darn thick with the willows and everything, but the part that everybody didn't see from the last time that I went out was because of the audio and cold. Camera's shut down. Ran into a couple of birds, but but they were too wary and didn't give me a chance to get on top of them and get a clean shot off. So anyways, so it's about 5 days later. Had a little bit of a snow, and we got Chinook winds happening right now, so my apologies for the audio. But yeah, trying to pack a little lighter because the side hilling of the ridge line that I was coming back on, which I believe I mentioned up here, I started way down there and then came all the way back to just in those trees just before you hit the top, and then came straight down. Definitely took a toll on me. Extra weight in my pack, and heel still not quite right, and man, I was tired and sore. So that being said, it's a new day, and it started off, well, pretty much like the last time. Had elk, which I think was the same herd. I think they were just over the last 5 days slowly moved their way south and a little bit west, and now they're probably going to head back north again. Really just depends on the wind and how they feel and all that. You're so sensitive. And then kind of, community snobs as well. Or at least that's what I call them, because they definitely don't like being around other animals or people, or at least this herd anyway. And yeah, first sign of anybody intruding in their space, they put their noses up and and they're gone. So anyways, I'm just gonna bip into these trees. Perfect habitat. Turn this thing around if I can. Nope, can't with my gloves on. There we go. Perfect habitat for ruffled grouse and rabbits and white-tailed deer, maybe the odd moose. Oh, let's see what I can come up with. I typically go on top of that ridge there and then cut across, but because there's a big beaver dam just over down there. But what do you do? Scoot along the edge of where the creek kind of comes out, or the boggy marsh area. Anyways, here's hoping that the day goes better as far as filming, and hats off to everybody that can get those shots in of their adventure and be able to be coordinated enough to allow themselves to be filmed as well as do their activity. It takes some skill for sure. And I'm still looking for those recipes, guys. Chime in, leave me some comments in the comment box, and let's have a share time. Let's discuss what favorite recipes you would like to see made, and or if it's your favorite, let me try it out. That would be awesome. So without further ado, I'm gonna stop talking here and just kind of mosey on through these woods, and we'll catch up to you in a little bit. Cheers. Well, pretty pooped.
but got up to a higher elevation here, and I just spooked a rabbit. I love eating rabbits too. Doesn't have to be a bird, and there's no limit on rabbits. Anyways, he spooked and he ran up the hill and that. So I thought, well, I'll just take it easy. And I spotted another one. So how do I get to him? Let's go around here. I reloaded just in case. I spy another one. So I think it's a snowshoe hare. Put my rifle down. Yeah, here he is. So awesome. I'm not going home empty-handed. And I've been watching videos and that on how to tan rabbit skins and so on. So yay. I got the rabbit. Awesome pepper tonight. Awesome. So I'm pretty much close to where I saw a pile of grouse last time too. So I think I'll wait with gutting them and that. You want to cool the meat down right away. And yeah, just make sure that the meat stays cold, and I'm going to put them in a bag and stick them in my pack. But I should stay vigilant, because if there's rabbits here, there's a good possibility that there's grouse here too. But yay! I think I would need at least 2 to make a pair of mittens, but maybe 1 to put on the backs of a pair of mittens or gloves. Anyways, success. Headshot, didn't even know what was coming. And yeah, snowshoe hare. Cheers, guys. We'll catch up to you hopefully in a few minutes with more action. And sorry, I don't necessarily like killing things on the video, but also it's very tricky when you're alone. If I had somebody with me that was videotaping me, then I wouldn't miss so many opportunities. So instead of missing opportunities, I've just got the camera in a strategic place, and I will pick it up after I've made true with my shot. And I'm getting tired, so I need a break too. Talk to you later. Well, I made it full circle, and I've seen nothing since the rabbit. Although sometimes I do run into Mr. Bulletproof here. Which is a ruffled grouse that I run into just about every time that I'm out here. But I've taken shots at him. I've spooked him and not had a chance. I've done just about everything with that bird except for have him on my dinner plate. So we'll see how it goes this time. He's usually hanging out around here. And as promised, field to table, I will definitely cook up that rabbit. And I've got some garden carrots and some potatoes. And I think I'll make them into a stew. But that being said, I've still got 3/4 of an hour left of shooting light. And you never know. I've seen lots of tracks today, but they were old. And I don't think I was on the right elevation. I think because we're Chinooking again, maybe they were down low today. Like Mr. Bulletproof this morning when I first started out and wasn't ready. Seem to be crisscrossing my tracks from this morning. And a lot of deer were bedded down up into higher elevations. But the higher I got, the less tracks to no tracks that I saw of any grouse. Gotta be careful in this marsh stuff. You could step into a hole and you could be up to your knee. Or break your knee. This time, if I run into one, I'm going to use my GoPro on my head as opposed to trying to hold my camera. least the wind died down. That could be the other reason why I didn't see any birds, is because I think birds and deer don't really like gusty winds. Can't hear what's coming. Huh. Nice little scrape. Well, I don't mean to bore you guys, so I will pick up where I left off, and if there's any action along the way here, you'll hopefully get to see some of the action. But if not, hope everybody's doing well on this winter solstice, shortest day of the year and the longest night of the year. So Merry Christmas if I don't get out and do another video before Christmas, but hope your family and your friends are all in good spirits and that you enjoy yourselves on this ride we call life. I hear something. I think that's a ruffled grouse. I'll catch up to you in a bit. Waterproof cover on this camera makes it hard to hear the audio, but I'm definitely getting closer. I just can't pinpoint at the moment where the noise was coming from. Success. Mr. Bulletproof is not so bulletproof today. Right on. Finally. Persistence pays off. What do we do here? Let's see. See if I caught it. Yep, I did. There. So I was successful and I got it on camera, so I'll have to figure that part out. Check it out. So I just decided to double back because I thought I heard something, and sure enough, I got a ruffled grouse. Look at that. And that's why they call them ruffled. You see those nice purple feathers there? So awesome. They'd be chicken tonight. There we go. All right. So, yeah. Yeah, you have to learn about the species. If they are territorial and dollars to donuts, they're always haunting the same spot. So that's why I kind of had a feeling that maybe he was going to be around here, and I did hear something just on the. I was on the other side of this this tree, and heard some kind of calling. So I was over there, just in that clearing there, and I went around, and this squirrel over here was giving me what for. And I thought, well, he was kind of doing a low chatter, but it didn't quite sound right. So, awesome. That really makes my day. Last time I was out here, I suffered greatly. So, note the words of the wise: if you're working out, doing exercise, trying to keep in shape, you shouldn't let it go for too much longer than 72 hours. And I did let it go a little longer, but I've been fairly regular with my workouts and hiking the bush. So I'm not losing too much of a muscle mass. But after 72 hours after a workout, it's like you never did anything. All the gains that you made if you hit it, like say 36 hours after, then you definitely will keep on building your muscle and your strength. And but yeah, I had to heal up my foot again. Side hilling is just a killer. But right on. At least my prayers were answered, and I got one bird. And there's a little ways to the car yet, so who knows? Maybe I will find another one. But I'm satisfied. That's enough for a meal, and I'll put it together with the other grouse that I have in the deep freeze. And like I said, we'll do that comparison. And hey, if you, like I said, got any recipes that you'd love to share, either forward me a link or just put it in the comments. I like this spice. I like to slow roast it, whatever. That would be great. I'd love to try out somebody else's take on the wild birds and how they eat them. So anyways, I suppose I should get to tending to this bird and get the guts out, and then back to the vehicle. I'll just kind of stalk my way along down here and see what else I might be able to find. Anyway, cheers, folks. Like I said, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't see you before then, but I don't know. I can't sit still for very long, so awesome.